Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
A plea for support for LIAT, and it's being made to 4 specific regional governments. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline from Monday, March 4th. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. 4 more regional governments are being asked to buy shares in the Antigua-based financially strapped airline LIAT. Antigua and Barbuda's Prime Minister Gaston Brown says efforts are being made to encourage the governments of St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, Grenada and Guyana to become shareholders. Speaking on a radio program over the weekend, he said the issue had been discussed at the recently concluded CARICOM Intersessional Summit in St. Kitts. The major shareholders of the airline are Barbados with 49.5%, Antigua and Barbuda with 13%, St. Vincent and the Grenadines with about 12%, and Dominica with less than 10%.
What we have recognized is that LIAT is making a significant contribution, not only in terms of the connectivity of people within the region, but even the airport taxes, the landing charges and so on that are earned by the various governments. LIAT is making a significant contribution to the revenue. And they have to understand that even if LIAT was to collapse, LIAT will have to replace. We must be in a position to move people within the region. So if LIAT collapses, then you'll have to reinvent it.
Brown also responded to reports by Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley that the airline is facing severe financial problems and only had enough cash left to remain in operation for 10 days.
That is not so. The reality is the various governments continue to support LIAT to ensure that it stays within the air. Perhaps someone may have made a statement, and as far as I'm concerned, it was a hyperbole. I'm not saying that without the support that LIAT could not collapse. But the reality is LIAT still has the support of the 4 shareholder governments, and we will not allow it to collapse unless, you know, circumstances push us to the extent in which we cannot take it any further.
2 CARICOM countries have been granted a 5-year deferral on freedom of movement under the CARICOM Single Market and Economy, the CSME. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley made the revelation at a news conference on Sunday. While he did not name the 2 countries, Rowley reminded reporters that Port of Spain had last December hosted a special CARICOM summit on the CSME, and there was unanimous support for the acceleration towards a single market and economy.
In that arrangement is the whole question of freedom of movement of individuals within the territories, among the territories. Everybody agreed to that. By the next meeting, while there's commitment to that, 2 CARICOM territories raise and ask for a deferral of the freedom of movement which that development was directing us to.
Rowley says the 2 territories were able to tell CARICOM at the 2-day intersessional meeting in St. Kitts, Nevis last week that they had been practicing the free movement of CARICOM nationals before the rest of the grouping agreed to it. They said within their borders they'd already had a large number of people who faced no barriers.
Now that we are saying that it is to be policy where a certain amount of encouragement and legal standing is put to ease of migration, these 2 territories found themselves saying, this may generate within our borders, and in some instances have already generated concerns about the balance of the population within their borders. So they asked for a 5-year deferral as not to be bound legally to accept any and all who would come into their borders because of the effect that would have. And
Rowley says, I beg your pardon. Rowley says the two territories were able to inform CARICOM at the two-day intercessional meeting in St. Kitts Nevis last week that they had been practicing the free movement of CARICOM nationals before the rest of the grouping agreed to it. They said within their borders they already had a large number of Caribbean people who faced no barriers.
Situation is back. We still wide.
Prime Minister Rowley also reported at Sunday's press conference that the United States has postponed a meeting with the CARICOM delegation to discuss the ongoing political situation in Venezuela. Regional leaders had received communication from Washington agreeing to their request for a meeting on the issue. They were scheduled to meet with U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Wednesday, but Rowley said he was informed of the postponement by the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain over the weekend. He did not disclose the reason given for the deferment.
CARICOM's situation is back. We still wide open, but as a result of that, the CARICOM prime ministers would not be traveling to Washington for this purpose of further notice. They give reasons of one kind or another, which we, I don't really want to get into whatever the reason were, because if they aren't available, they aren't available. Doesn't matter what the reason is. If they wanted to see us, what they do know is that we were available to be seen. And if their scheduling didn't allow it, well, that's what it is.
The Ghana Trades Union Congress, the GTUC, says it wants the impasse with the Russian-owned bauxite company Rusal, which fired 61 striking workers last month, to go to arbitration. This after the company refused to meet with the union on Monday morning because General Secretary Lincoln Lewis was included in the delegation. More in this report from Newsroom Guyana.
After the refusal to meet with the Guyana Bauxite and General Workers Union on Monday morning by officials from Rusal, Minister within the Ministry of Social Protection Keith Scott and Chief Labor Officer Charles Ogle held a second meeting with the union at the Department of Labor, Breakdam, Georgetown. At this meeting, the union was told that Rusal wants the Berbice River, the main passageway for exporting bauxite out of the mines in Arawaima, to be unblocked, and then they will reinstate the fired workers.
While the Russians are saying, one, they're not prepared to meet with the union unless Lincoln Lewis is absent. Two, they're asking for the river to be unblocked. And with that, they're going to reinstate the workers. Now, the union's position is, since 2009, there was no collective agreement in place. There are lots and lots of matters that are still pending. And so the union's position is we need to sit at the table, workers' representative and management, iron out our issues, after which we will move to the next step.
In 2009, workers attached to Rusal held a strike action for poor working conditions, and the company has refused to engage with the union since then. The president of the Bauxite Union said there will be no terms of resumption unless the company is prepared to sit down and talk with the union.
What they're doing is racist, because they look at me as a strong black man who can stand up to them. They're saying that I must not be part of the union. What they want? They want lumpy, pumpy, and lackeys, carrying them to the Ethnic Relations Commission next.
Rusal officials refused to give a comment after the meeting, but according to Minister Keith Scott, there seems to be some way forward, as Rusal will yet again give the government proposals by Monday afternoon and make a collective decision.
As a government, our biggest concern has to be our workers. That comes first. In terms of investment, while we are pro-investors and we intend to encourage investment, we have to maintain a stable industrial climate, which we have been doing. So it's not a question of anybody threatening anybody, either loud or not. Our country comes first, and that is the priority.
After the second meeting with Rusal and the government, where the company refused to reinstate the workers blocked the Berbice River to stop the ongoing bauxite transport.
The river will continue to be blocked until the Russians decide that they're going to recognize the union.
Venezuela's opposition leader defies a government warning and returns to the capital. The details after the break.
Hello, I want to tell you about a brand new talk show that I'll be hosting called Changing Steps with Belinda Baker. It's a show that's dear and close to my heart, and it's named after my treatment center that I formed in 2002.
Sometimes, we don't know who to talk to. We're scared to talk. How did God play a part in your life?
No, not the first time.
It happened over and over.
After I had the baby.
Don't jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up? It's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy David Doe.
Hi, I'm Elme.
This is Buju Banton, and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elme. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkittsmusicfestival.com.
Welcome back. Venezuela's opposition leader Juan Guaido has returned to the capital Caracas despite government threats to arrest him. The self-declared interim leader faces arrest after defying a ban on leaving the country and lobbying for international aid for the crisis-hit nation. Guaido was received at the Simon Bolivar International Airport by diplomats from the United States and EU nations and a crowd of supporters. Accompanied by his wife, he then traveled to the eastern Caracas district of Las Mercedes to address an anti-government rally. Earlier on Monday, Guaido announced his planned return to a country in a tweet. He said he would be calling a meeting of unions representing public sector employees on Tuesday and called for nationwide protests on Saturday. While international pressure on President Nicolas Maduro has steadily increased, the Venezuelan leader has dismissed all calls for him to step down. Over in Jamaica, political parties, candidates and their contributors will for the first time have to comply with strict campaign financing rules as they raise funds for the upcoming by-election in Portland Eastern. Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced over the weekend that the by-election to choose a replacement for opposition MP Dr. Linville Bloomfield, who was murdered last month, will be held in 3 weeks on March 25th. Friday is nomination day. And the Electoral Office of Jamaica has announced that contributions to parties and candidates will be regulated by the Representation of the People Amendment Act and the Election Campaign Financing Regulations. It says contributors can give donations to parties during the campaign period, starting when an election is announced or by-election by members of the House of Representatives and ending 24 hours before the opening of the polls. Significant contributions will have to be declared, and fines for making false declarations or failing to make declarations have been provided for. Well, the weekend after the ruling Jamaica Labour Party officially started its campaign with Anne-Marie Vaz as its candidate, the People's National Party, PNP, launched its own campaign. The PNP's choice to carry its banner, Damien Crawford, declared that the by-election is a fight against history and of class and color versus qualification, as he painted his opponents as a privileged, underclass woman who did not know the struggles being faced by many in East Portland. He said, well, he embodies what the people of the constituency want. It is said, by May, It is said by many he is not good enough and Vaz is better than him and more qualified to be the MP for the area. But PNP General Secretary Julian Robinson insisted that Crawford, who is the party's vice president as well, is the man for the job. Endometriosis is a common condition affecting women across the globe, but how many people are aware it exists? And a public health official in Belize calls for more funding to fight NCDs. We have the details in this week's Newsline Health.
This week, we begin with a look at a condition that affects the reproductive health of millions of women worldwide. Endometriosis is said to affect 1 in 10 women globally. It is a condition where the lining of the uterus or the endometrium is found in other parts of the body, such as the pelvis, the ovaries, and the large intestines. Symptoms include long, painful, or irregular periods, pain during or after sex, depression and anxiety, and infertility. It is usually diagnosed through a surgical procedure called a laparoscopy. Doctors say the condition can be treated with painkillers, contraceptive pills, or surgery. March is being observed as Endometriosis Awareness Month, and health advocates are hoping that more attention will be paid to the illness. In other health matters this week, a top health official in Belize wants more funding to contain increasing cases of non-communicable diseases. Deputy Director of Health Services, Dr. Francis Maury, says this was one of the areas raised at a recent meeting in Belize City hosted by the Pan American Health Organization. He says while individuals need to take more responsibility for their overall health, there is still a need for more assistance to curb NCDs.
The control and prevention of non-communicable diseases begins from the household. It begins from at the level of the family, and hence the increasing health promotion activities by the HECOPAB unit will be something that is essential within the next few years that needs to be done. There is the need to increase the monies allocated for addressing diabetes and high blood pressure. But we must be able to even in the event that monies are not identified, the message going out there is that our population, people are affected by these diseases, must be able to adapt, change their lifestyle, so that they can control their numbers.
And for those taking part in Carnival this week, here are a few health tips. Stay hydrated, pack healthy snacks, and limit your alcohol intake. Mary-Claire Williams, Newsline Health.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, all-rounder Andre Russell will not be in the Windy squad for the 3-match T20 International Series against England. We'll tell you why after the break.
How do you select new lawyers to join you?
Ben's good at that. I trust his judgment. Why don't you talk about that?
What we do, we're very blessed. And in part, Steve, obviously, is because of Jeff and his reputation and his years, not just here in Michigan, but across the United States. So we get resumes from folks all across the country. And we're very, very selective. And to me, that's why I think that we are the right firm for most people who are injured.
Welcome back. We continue with sports now. West Indies have retained their 13-man one-day squad for the 3-match T20 International Series against England starting in St. Lucia on Tuesday. But our star all-rounder Andre Russell will take no part after failing to recover from a recent knee procedure. A Cricket West Indies release on a Monday said the 30-year-old had to be withdrawn from the squad due to an adverse reaction he had to a medical procedure done in Dubai before he flew to the Caribbean. Russell, who had been playing in the ongoing Pakistan Super League, was called up to the one-day squad for the 2 final ODIs to replace injured seamer Kemar Roach. Selectors, meanwhile, have opted to continue with the one-day squad, which tied the preceding 5-match series 2-2, in order to further advance preparations for the World Cup starting in May. With several members of the World Cup squad due to miss the final one-day tour, a tri-nation series involving hosts Ireland and Bangladesh, Chief Selector Courtney Brown said the decision had been made to use the T20 series to finalize strategies for the World Cup. Jason Holder, the Test and one-day skipper, will lead the squad, which also includes regular T20 captain Carlos Brathwaite. The last 2 T20Is of the series will be played at Warner Park in St. Kitts on Friday and Sunday. Meanwhile, West Indies batting coach Toby Radford expects to see the side dominate the visiting England team on Tuesday. The 2-time world champions have set up what could be a very exciting series following their good form in the just concluded ODI series, which they tied 2-2, and the Test series, which they won 2-1. Radford believes the current crop of players will be the team to beat in the upcoming World Cup.
The intention here with the squad is to keep the squad together. We've got a World Cup coming up, so there's clearly a core of players that the board is looking at to, with that in mind, keeping them together, a strategy and a way of playing that Richard's brought in as head coach, which I think has really worked so far. So, everyone's sort of buying into a method and a way of playing, and the boys are going out and delivering at the moment. So it's, more of the same.
The first ball bowls off 4 p.m. Eastern Caribbean time, 3 p.m. in Jamaica and 8 p.m. in England. West Indies opener Chandra Paul Hemraj stroked a half-century as 4-time reigning champions Guyana Jaguars pulled off a 7-wicket victory over Barbados Pride inside 3 days on Saturday, taking them closer to their 5th straight regional 4-day title. Jaguars quickly wrapped up the Barbados second innings for 238 and then easily chased down the 114 required for victory at the Guyana National Stadium to stretch their lead at the top of the 6-team standings. The left-handed Hemraj spearheaded the runs chase with 51 off 63 balls, striking 5 fours and a 6. Fast bowler Shamar Springer took all 3 wickets to end with 3 for 29. Meanwhile, leg spinner Imran Khan claimed his second 5-wicket haul of the match to help bowl the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force to an emphatic 190-run win over the Windward Islands Volcanoes at the Arnos Stadium on Sunday. Set an imposing 352 for an improbable victory, the Volcanoes never looked capable of threatening the target before eventually losing their final 5 wickets for 26 runs. Fresh from capturing 5 for 54 in the first innings, Khan returned to claim 5 wickets for 65 runs, while Brian Charles took 5 for 72 to help bundle out the Volcanoes for just 161 after lunch. In the other game, captain Kieran Powell finally tasted form with a half-century, but it was seamer Shino Burridge's 4-wicket burst which earned Leeward Islands Hurricanes a convincing 134-run win over Jamaica Scorpions inside 3 days on Saturday. Resuming on 171 for 3, Hurricanes were dismissed for 312 in their second innings, with Casey Carter getting 68, Powell struck 54 down the order, and all-rounder Rakeem Cornwall chipping with a typically robust 52. Set 273 for victory, the host then crumbled for 138, with only the informed Brandon King showing any resistance with 31. Burridge snatched 4 for 40, while off-spinners Terrence Ward and Cornwall and leg spinner Damian Jacobs supported with 2 wickets each. And as the Guyana Jaguars set sights on retaining the regional 4-day title, Leeward Islands Hurricanes remain hot on their heels. In the points standings, at the end of the 9th round, Jaguars moved to 136 points, 25.2 points clear of the Hurricanes on 110.8. Pride remained third on 96 points. Volcanoes are still fourth on 86, but are now only a fraction of a point ahead of Red Force with 85.6. And Scorpions' fifth defeat of the season left them bottom of the standings on 82.4 points. Switching sports now, Bermudian goalkeeper Jaquil Hill, just back from international duty in Cuba, has joined English non-league club Hereford until the end of the season. The 22-year-old Hill was an unused substitute in Hereford's 2-2 draw away to United of Manchester in the National League North on Saturday. Hill is following in the footsteps of compatriots Kentwan Jennings and Mishak Wade, who had stints together with the club in the early 1990s when it was known as Hereford United. The club was wound up in the High Court in 2014 after a petition had been brought against it by HM Revenue and Customs. Following the demise of United, a new club was set up. Hill has also had stints with English non-league sides Ilkeston and Stafford Rangers, as well as League One Ontario side Oakville Blue Devils. And that's the sports. We'll be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Jump up to this non-stop turn and twist.
What up, it's your boy French Montana.
It's me, Smokey Robinson.
It's your boy Davido.
Hi, I'm Elame.
This is Buju Banton, and I'll be performing live with the Shiloh Band in St. Kitts Music Festival.
Don't miss the 23rd Annual St. Kitts Music Festival, June 26th to June 30th, 2019. Featuring Buju Banton, Smokey Robinson, Popcorn, and Elame. Also, Davido, French Montana, Fimba, Edwin Yearwood and Crossfire, Coco T, Skinny Fabulous, Shal Marshall, Charlie Black, Farmer Nappy, Nadia Batson, Infamous, New Vibes Band, and many, many more. It will be epic. It will be mind-blowing. It will be jaw-dropping. It will be awesome. The St. Kitts Music Festival, an experience like no other. For more information and to buy tickets, log on to www.stkitsmusicfestival.com.
Here's a couple thumbs up for Vibes Cartel. He dropped a track that is dedicated to his kids. The song is entitled Way Daddy Day. It's a conscious single and is produced by Donald Productions. Cartel on this track can be heard reminiscing on his kids' lives, which he has been missing out on physically because of being incarcerated for almost a decade. However, despite his locked-up status, he still manages to maintain a close bond with his kids, especially his daughter, who is a teenager.
Again, the major developments of this day, at least 4 more regional governments are being asked to buy shares in the Antigua-based financially strapped airline Liat. And in sport, all-rounder Andre Russell will not be in the Windy squad for the 3-match T20 International Series against England because he has still not recovered from a recent knee procedure. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, subscribe to canonnews.com. For more of our programming, log on to caribvision.tv and check out our YouTube channel. We'll be back here tomorrow, but from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and have yourselves a good night.